And we're live with Be Green with Amy.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Be Green with Amy. I'm Amy. After adopting a whole food plant-based lifestyle, my hubby Rick and I lost over 130 pounds. Now I coach others on their plant-based journey.
Hi, guys. Welcome to Be Green with Amy. I am Rick, Amy's husband, and I have been whole food plant-based since 2012. I've lost myself over 120 pounds. And this is Amy. Say hi, Amy.
Greetings, Green Warriors, and welcome. We are so excited that you're here. Normally, Just Task Voice does an intro for our guest, but she was traveling while we had a last-minute change in our guest lineup. We're going to be having Richard Hubbard coming on next month, but he was supposed to come on today, so sorry for any confusion.
So Rick is the substitute.
But yes, and I just love that my hubby just jumps on in. He's like, you need a guest? I'll be there for you, hon.
I'm there for you, hon.
And it's so nice to have him. And every time that he comes on, he says, what do you want me to make?
Well, Amy, yeah, so she wanted me to make a lentil. I made this lentil stuff last week. It turned out really good. And it just so happened that one of the people that she coached on an employee wellness program, he made something very similar to it without even knowing. And he said, oh, this is so great. The only difference, well, there's a little bit of difference, but he added pasta. I don't add pasta.
Yeah, so he was so excited about the recipe that he emailed it to us. And I said, I just had something just like that last night, maybe a little bit different, but of course we didn't have it over pasta. And he also shared his weight loss journey. And I was so excited that I actually invited him, and his name is Topher. That's his nickname. And he's going to be coming on the show next month. I am so excited to meet him.
Because he's on his plant-based journey as well.
Yes, he is.
He's already lost like, what, 20 pounds?
At least 20 pounds.
Something like that?
Yeah.
14?
Yeah, he's doing so well. And I thought, wow, it's going to be so encouraging for you. So
he's very excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
He is.
Yeah.
He was like, I can't believe that it's so easy. And then why isn't everybody doing this? Why don't everybody know it?
That's what he said in the email. I don't understand why everybody doesn't do this. But we're doing it, and hopefully you Green Warriors are doing it. And today,
so I'm gonna make the lentil with the tomato base, and then I'm gonna make sushi because, well, even though Amy's not eating it now because she has a challenge with her.
I have braces. I guess you guys have been seeing that. So it's kind of, I could eat it.
Because I make it with a rice paper, and I also make it with.
Yeah, that's going to be his little tip for you. So yes, he's going to be making sushi, but he's also going to be making this wonderful lentil dish.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about it because
it's simple.
It's simple, but also people need to know that lentils can be flavorful and easy to make.
Oh, they're delicious too.
And they have a lot of iron in them. So if any of you are iron challenged, this could be a helpful thing. I actually wrote a blog about if you are challenged on iron and what you can do about it. And that's one of the things you can do is eat lentils because they are, compared to other plant-based things, they're high in iron. So I would like to ask you, Green Warrior, if you can type in the chat, have you ever made anything with lentils? And if so, tell us what you like to make with lentils. And I'm going to go back in the green room, and Rick is going to take over the kitchen.
Put on my apron.
What kind of apron? Okay.
The only one. Well, that's not the only one.
No, that's not the only one.
You want to tie me up?
Oh, okay.
I like her when she ties me up.
So, yeah, everybody loves this apron that Rick wears. So he's the superhero of my kitchen. And I'm going to go back in the green room. Break the leg, honey.
Thanks, baby. Bye. Okay, so today we are going to use the Instapot. So if you don't have an Instapot, you can actually make it on the stove, but you have to stir and things like that. The Instapot is so much easier. And when she switches over, we'll show you the different camera. So today I'm going to be using a combination of lentils, brown lentils and green lentils. Each one of these is like 1.5 pounds, but we'll only put in about 1.5 pounds in total. This is like 3 pounds in total. But anyway, and then I use a jar of salsa. I use a can of Rotel. I use tomato sauce and tomato paste. And onions, peppers and onions, frozen. Makes it real easy. That's basically all you do is dump it in. So Amy, you there? Not yet.
I am here.
Good. Okay, now you got it. So this is my Instapot right here. Okay. And I'm going to show you what I do. You can
So, do you have a name for the recipe, Rick?
Make one up.
Yummy lentils in the Instant Pot.
Well, it's a tomato based, and it's got a little bit of a kick because I put this rotel in there, which is chilies. So I take, this is what we do. So I take about half of this, which is about 3/4 pound, and I do the same thing with the green lentils. So now we're done as far as lentils, but you have to rinse them off. You want to rinse them off until they kind of run clear. So I've got 2 ways of doing it. I put it in the sink, which is right here. Fill that up. So we soak it a little bit to begin with. Stir it around. You can see how it looks kind of soapy. Yeah, let me turn this just a tad. Yeah. And then I drain it out. Okay. Okay, and in the meanwhile, what I'll do is cut open these onions. And I just dump it in the Instapot. Some people, you can saute it, but I don't see the reason for it because it all kind of just blends together. See, so now it's not as soapy, as you can see. So you got a pretty good rinse on them already. Then I dump these in. Yeah, let's do it this way so you can see better. It fills the pot up pretty much. Okay, then I take this tomato sauce, which is just tomato sauce. This is the Palms. It's got no salt, no ingredients, no nothing inside there. All right, and I take this tomato paste. I need to cut the bottom off. Sorry, I forgot to do that. And I take the salsa. I just dump the salsa in.
I love that can opener. It's battery operated, and we just keep it inside of the pantry right next to where our canned goods are, so that we just, if we need a can opener, we know where to find it. It's not lost in a drawer somewhere in the kitchen.
So there you go. And then we do the same thing with the rotel.
Yeah, so talk about the rotel.
Rotel, you can buy it salt and salt-free. We buy the salt-free brand. Rotel is just tomatoes and chilies.
Yeah, and
Oh,
so
this is what it looks like. And it adds a little bit of a kick and nice little spice to it, which I find, I mean, I'm not a big hot guy, but I like the flavor that this gives. And you don't have to put as much of your chili flakes and things like that inside of that. Now what I do is I take a squirt of mustard. Can you put me on dual? Yeah, okay. Put a squirt of mustard. That's probably like 2 tablespoons. And then I use chili 9000. And I sprinkle some chili 9000 in there. a little bit of poultry seasoning that I get from Penzi. You put in a nice little, and this is sage, white pepper, green and red bell pepper, lemon, rosemary, dill wheat, allspice, thyme, marjoram. And then we got to put garlic in there. So you can use fresh squeezed, or you can do granulated. This is a roasted garlic from Penzi, which comes out really good. A little bit of paprika. I think that's optional more than anything else. I always put in my special sauce, not a whole lot. It's balsamic vinegar, garlic, a little bit of raisins, and some nutritional yeast because it gives it that cheesy flavor. Then you add water until it goes all the way up to the top. You know, the maximum that you can get out of an Instapot, which is about that much. Oh, I want to show you something. My sister got me these beautiful spatula or spoon set, and it's made of wood. And look at the colors on these things. I forget where they come from, but they're like artistic. So I'm going to use these to stir with, to get it started and get it mixed up and go and moving around. So then you just plug it in. I'm not going to plug it in here. I'm going to plug it off to the side because we're going to make sushi now. So this is it. You just dump and go. So the flavors that come out of this are absolutely amazing. Okay. And it'll come out like a paste. It won't come out like a soup. It'll come out pretty thick. And then when it gets refrigerated, it's even thicker. But you put it in the microwave, and it turns more liquidy. Then you put your Instapot lid on. 8 minutes, and that's it. I'll put that over. Well, let's put it over here.
Wow, that's
You might be able to see.
so good. Have any of you Green Warriors let us know in the comments if you've done any cooking with lentils, and also if you have had them in the way that Rick is making them, because what he is doing is he's adding more lentils than maybe somebody else might because he wants a thicker consistency, which is kind of fun. So it's not going to come out as like a soupy kind of consistency. So he's getting ready for
The sushi. What I do is I wrap it inside of a rice paper and also the seaweed paper, which is kind of neat. So I'll need 2 of these bowls, one to dip and one to mix.
Yeah, so this is going to be a little bit different. And when I was promoting this recipe demo, I was thinking about how when I first made sushi, that it fell apart. I was trying to do all these things just to make it stick together, and then I would try to cut it and it would fall apart, and I finally just kind of gave up. And I even purchased something that didn't have it. It was like a kit, it was a bazooka, they called it, right, Rick?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to fix your camera, your other camera that's overviewed, because there it goes. Yeah, so yeah, it was like this bazooka, they called it, and you rolled up the sushi in it, and then you pushed it out.
You still have it, don't you?
Yes, but I think what it is that it requires some practice. But then you came up with this hack, which I think is really cool.
Well, if your ingredients are too wet or whatever, or you overstuff it, I mean, the paper is just so thin. Anyway, so this is what I do, and I make it for hors d'oeuvres more than anything. We have when we have our potlucks. I'll put out hummus. I'll put out chips. I'll put out sushi, and I wind up air frying them, and nice heating them up, and it comes out quite delicious actually. Some people love them, really love them. I mean, they're all gone by the end of the thing. Anyway, I use a broccoli slaw, which is organic. It's got cabbage and carrots, And I think it's all broccoli stumps, more so than anything. Get that from Walmart. Okay, that's my base, which is kind of easy and quick. Everything I do is pretty easy. Okay, now I use hemp seed. So I'll sprinkle some hemp seed inside there, right? And then I use table tasty, which gives it a little bit of a salty flavor. Now, this is going to be more of a sweet dish. You can make it any way you want. You can cut up cucumbers and lay the cucumbers inside of it. I have pea pods that I'm looking at using as well, to give it a little bit more of a crunch. And normally I do not put rice in. You can put quinoa in, you can put rice in, but I have some leftover rice, so I figured I would do that, only because I want to. A lot of people wrap the sushi in rice. Me, I'm just going to mix it all inside of the container. So a little chili 9000, just for a little kick.
Yeah, that's one of your favorite spices.
Tad sumac, little basil, because I like the sweet. I like the taste of sweet basil. If you want to add nutritional yeast, you can. It doesn't matter. It's all a matter of flavor profiles. What I'm going to do is use mango too, because what I did was I took this dehydrated mango, put it inside of water last night, and then it comes out just like a mango. Look at that. Most of the time I keep it dehydrated and I just cut it up into little pieces, and then it becomes it gets wet inside the sushi and kind of soaks up some of the liquid. But I decided to do it differently.
I love that hack because oftentimes it's nice to have mango, but it goes bad, or it just, you have to sometimes get rid of it because you don't use it all. So this is a great hack that you'll always have mango on hand.
Ta-da! And there you go.
Yeah, so Gary said, my kids won't eat homemade sushi. They say the shop is nicer.
Well, that's true. I mean, but when you go to the shop, it has a lot of different additives inside of it.
Yeah.
So you could make sushi, and I think they'll enjoy it. You can make spring rolls. You just make it with vegetables inside of the rice paper. It's kind of nice.
Yeah. I think it's fun to do it where everybody puts their own ingredients that they like. But
Yes.
It kind of reminded me of somebody that I knew that wasn't plant-based, and she used to go to a fast food restaurant and get those little nugget things with chicken or whatever they were made out of, and her kid loved them. So then she would keep the box and she would go and buy the similar kind in the frozen food section.
That's funny.
And she would heat them up, and then she'd put them inside of the box, and she'd say, "Here you go." And the kid was like, "Yay!" But if she didn't do that, he wouldn't even eat it. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Anyway, so I mix it up a little bit, but it's easier if you just massage it with your hands. Then you get a nice uniform mixture. Now, the beauty of this is you taste it, and if you don't like the flavor profile, you can change it a little bit. But I've done this so many times that I already have a pretty good understanding what the flavor profile is going to be.
I love the hack of using that already prepared coleslaw mix. And I've told my clients about it because I mean, it's great with the sushi, but also if you are just making a soup or a stew or a salad, like if you didn't want to chop up so many vegetables to put in your salad, you could just get some lettuce, toss that in, and now you've got a mixed salad. Or if, like Rick likes to do oftentimes, right? And you make a soup or a stew, sometimes you just throw a bag of that in and it gives you some more veggies. So it's pretty cool.
Now,
and Rick Roxy said hello.
Hi. How you been? Okay, so this is what I do next. See, the water is still a little wet, but it doesn't matter. Or dirty is what I was going to say. So then I take, okay, I want to make sure that you can see well. I'm going to move everything off to the side.
Yeah, so this is the part where it gets kind of tricky with sushi, with the actual rolling of it, right?
Yeah, well,
This,
that's what most people find difficult.
this is what most people find difficult and kind of intimidating.
So I use a little plastic rolling mat.
Yeah.
It's nothing special.
Well, I
Then,
think that that's a good tip because sometimes the bamboo ones, things kind of stick to them. And I've seen a hack where people would take saran wrap and put, or saran wrap, right, and put it on the bamboo
yes.
ones.
So
So
I get
now,
about 5 out of these, and this is the rice paper that I've been using. It's a square, Kathy's. I haven't found it organic. I probably could, but I don't know. It's hard to.
yeah, so now this is kind of a surprise, right? Because typically people use, and that's what people usually use is the nori wrap, right? And that's what people usually use for sushi. And you've got that, but you also pulled out the rice paper. So here's where
This is. I've never seen anybody do this,
me
but that
neither.
doesn't mean it hasn't happened. So I take a few pieces of this nori stuff, and what I
Now,
do is I slide one in between each.
are you going to use the rough side on one side? Some people say I have to use the rough side or the smooth side.
The shiny side.
Yeah.
Shiny side. I believe shiny side's supposed to be up. That's what I do. But I think when you're doing this, it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference. But
Right. Because
it
the
might.
way that you do it, is not going to really make a difference.
Right. So
Tell me
first
in the
thing,
comments, Green Warrior, have you ever made sushi before? And if you find that intimidating.
I take the rice paper and I put it inside show the sink, Ames.
Okay.
Okay, so I put it in there, I hold it for like 5 seconds. But you want it to be completely under. Not too long, otherwise it turns into a mush. And you don't want to turn it into a mush. So it's still it's flexible, and then you just let it drip off. So then I put it's like long or not. I put the long side that way, and then I put this shiny side up, and I put the narrow side to me. So that's the first step. So you lay it on there, and then I take this, and you just lay it inside there. Now, at this point, you can add whatever you want, or you can just roll that up the way that it is. Now, if you add things to it, like you want to add a cucumber, let's say, right? So
I like those kind of cucumbers because you don't have to peel them. And usually you'll use the whole cucumber.
you take the little cucumber, you stick it inside, and then you just kind of squeeze it together and roll it up like this. And the first, you see this right here? You want to make sure that gets under. Tack it under, because once it grabs, you got a nice roll. And then I turn around and I stuff the ends because it wants to come out for whatever reason. And then I roll it.
So you're squeezing and rolling at the same time?
It's not really squeezing. It's more of a pressure and keeping it condensed. Okay. And then when you get to this point, I roll it like this, and then I roll it up. Okay. And then I stuff the end. And I stuff the end. And if there wasn't enough and it compresses, I take a little bit out of the bowl and I stuff it inside.
That's so cool that you can add on more.
So, because you don't want the end to be
Yeah, empty.
Yeah, because when you go and cut it off, I usually wind up eating the ends prior to.
Because that's the sacrifice that you have to make as the chef.
Correct.
You want only the
So check this out. So when it unrolls, well, this one wants to stick for some reason. Usually it just unrolls. Bam. So there you go. So you got your first.
Hold it up to the camera. Ooh, look at that.
First sushi roll. So I take that and I put it on a plate, which is right here, and I stick that one off to the side. And then I do my second one. So I already have the paper. I got a piece of rice paper, and then I have a piece of seaweed paper. And then I dip it inside the bowl, 5 seconds. So 1, 2.
So how do you know how much to
5.
stuff it? Because I think one of the things when I first did it,
Yeah.
I tended to put too much in.
Yeah, that's true. It's a learning curve. There's no doubt. You know, sometimes less is more, but maybe not. So anyway, lengthwise, widthwise. Then I have a spoon that I measure it out. It comes out about this much. You know, which is, and then you just roll it. It's like a cigar. So you say, okay, this is the thickness of what a cigar would be.
Can you wait a minute for a second?
Sure.
Because like I think the positioning of it, right? Because I would like if you could, is it possible to hold it up so that you could show that at the end, like, or maybe turn it around? Can you rotate it so we could see? Yeah. So you left a little, did you leave a little gap there?
Yeah, I left a little gap. It's about the paper is actually
The rice
hanging over
paper
the
is
white.
sticking out more
Right.
than the sushi.
Yeah, you're not
roll.
really paying a whole lot of
Noise.
attention to the seaweed. You're paying more attention to the rice paper. When that rolls over, you know, it'll grab, and then it gets tucked under inside of here, and that is what creates that tight roll, like you would roll. We're rolling up a cigar.
Yeah. Which I've never done.
Which you've never done. But maybe if we go to Havana.
Yeah.
When we were in Puerto Rico, you had the opportunity, but the place was closing.
Yes. I don't know what I would have done with it, but it would have been an experience.
So now you could also, like I said, you could add pea pods. I like to cut the ends off the pea pods before I put them in to make sure.
And our puppy Zeus likes you to do that as well, right?
Oh, he smells this stuff. He wants it. Yeah. In fact, I'll give him one. Oops. Here you go. All right. Now he won't leave me alone, which I think that was a bad thing. Okay. So then you like I said, you see what I'm doing? I'm using all my fingers to hold all that stuff in place. Then I roll it to this point where it should tuck. You get it under.
So how do you know if it tucked? Do you peek under
I look.
there?
Yeah, I look. And then, because if you keep going, it's not going to be. So right now, you can see that it's tucked. It's a little loose, but it'll tighten up if, in fact, you stay snug. And I squeeze it like this. Not really squeeze.
You're just putting a little pressure.
Yes, I'm putting pressure on the end so that it will stay. And then I just roll it. And then once it gets to this point, I roll it all back. That locks it all in place. And then I push the ends in. And I add a little bit more of the sushi mix to get the ends tightened. And I do the same thing.
So you're kind of packing in that sushi with your finger, and then when you're adding more, you're even packing in more, right?
Yeah. I wish I was paying better attention to the camera. We should zoom. See here?
Yeah. You'll make another one and you'll zoom in.
I tuck it in. And then I make sure that it's uniform all the way across. Then I unroll it. And it stays together. Mostly.
So hold it up. Yeah.
See the
And
end?
that is so, I think it's so awesome because the rice paper, it kind of, when you activate it with the water, it kind of gets sticky. And then it's kind of like having some kind of an adhesive for the nori wrap, because you'll watch later on, he's going to cut them and you'll see.
So you take that piece of paper, you dip it in the water. How long? 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, you go a little bit longer, but then let the excess water run off. Shake it off lengthwise, the longest. Shiny side up. lengthwise to you. Okay. Then you take a spoonful of this stuff, put it in, kind of make it so that it's the same all the way across. You know, add a couple of cucumbers.
This is what's so much fun if you can make it with people. Then, because one
Oh
time
yeah,
we actually did a potluck dinner where we had all the fixings, and we used food prep gloves so that people could reach in the bowls and get their fixings without having to worry about it. And then when it came to rolling their sushi, then they took off the gloves.
everybody had a good time.
They
It
did.
they didn't always turn out so perfect. I've been doing this for quite some time, so there is a bit of a learning curve, but you'll get it. It's not really difficult. You see, at this point, it's tucked under.
You want to hold that up to the camera at this point? This way you
Okay,
can.
that might mess it up, but
Well,
I'll
if
do
you
it.
use the cutting board.
That's all right. I got it. So you see, it's tucked under. It's already sticking. Okay. Then you just keep rolling. And then you tuck and you roll it up. And you
Then
stuff.
show us the end now.
See how there's a hole in there? I don't know. Can you see that? That there's about an inch gap in there now. And I put that in and I stuff it until I can't get any more in. Then I do the other side. Same thing. What you want to do is make sure you don't push the rice paper and down. You want to open that rice paper up so that you're stuffing this little cannon in a way. It's kind of like loading a cannon.
See, oftentimes when people tell you how to make sushi, they tell you to lay the rice out first.
Yes.
And that
It's hard. This is so much easier when you're using the rice paper together with the sushi rolls.
yeah.
And then they hold together nicely.
Yeah, because I remember taking the rice, and you had to make sure it was sticky rice, and then you had to like make sure it didn't come off the ends of the whole perimeter, and then you had to pat it down
I
and
mean,
make
we could
sure it
try
was,
making it regular, but it never really turns out very well for me. I could turn around, take the rice paper, put it on there, put the rice on, try and stuff the roll and roll it. But normally, at least when I do it, it's too wet. It's a
yeah.
little too wet.
Carrie
And
said that
the rice paper
looks,
winds up tearing or falling apart, especially when you go to cut it.
Carrie said that looks great.
Oh, they're good. They are.
Yeah,
They're really good.
they are.
Okay, so you take your rice paper. Remember, you sandwich them when you first start. Make sure your hands are dry because the rice paper gets sticky and it'll stick to each other. Even if you get something wet on it, it'll stick to each other and then it'll be hard to pull them apart. Lengthwise, rice paper, shiny side up. Widthwise, spoonful.
And I love how you already
Spread it
put
out.
seasoning in there too.
And what?
You already put seasoning in there.
Yes.
So even if you didn't have dipping sauce, it would be delicious just that way.
Correct. But the dipping sauce that we use is the salad dressing that we eat every day.
Yeah.
Which is quite divine.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so you see how that starts? So you squeeze off in the sides, then you make sure that it gets tucked under. Okay, see this one didn't get started yet. So
you just keep lifting it up and peeking to make sure.
yeah, right now this one's rolling off of the you see how it didn't get tucked?
Ah.
So it's rolling off of the paper. So in that case, I'll get it started on its own like this. And I think that the cucumber wound up holding it up.
Okay.
All right, so there you go.
Well, that was good. In case that ever happens for somebody, they know that it's not over.
No, you can start all over again.
Yeah.
See? Then you just
But now you flipped it over. And now you're rolling toward you, right?
Well, that's because I rolled it up. Yes. You
Yeah.
see? So I rolled it up to make sure that and at the same time, I'm making it so that it's even, and then I stuff the ends so that it makes it all tight in the whole thing. Otherwise, the ends will be soft because when you're rolling it, this stuff kind of oozes out the ends. And then when you flip it over, it wants to fall out anyway. But that's another reason that I stuff it so well. This is just my thing.
Yeah, I just keep thinking about when we had our potluck dinner and we had little bowls of different ingredients, like we had peppers that were thinly sliced, and we had rice, we had a mixture, we just had all different kinds of ingredients, and then some people don't like peppers, so they didn't add them. And so I think that this could be a real fun thing for a party, or for, especially if you have kids and maybe, they don't care for sushi because they never had the ingredients in it that they liked, or they, like with Kerry, maybe they only like the ones in the shop. So, but if I think that when kids make their own, it makes a difference sometimes.
Okay, we're going to have a little left over, which is no big deal. A lot of times I'll put this inside of our soup too. This one's going to be a little fatter. And I will use just pea pods. I cut the ends off. Then I feed them to Zeus because he really likes them.
I hear him.
Yes, he's sitting on my legs. There you go. Oh, he's in his glory. Okay. Then you see my fingers, how I'm tucking this stuff under and already forming the roll before it gets there, before the rice paper gets to the end. And that will help solidify that it gets tucked under. Then I stuff the ends, make sure it's tight across, take a peek, make sure it's doing what I'm supposed to think it's doing, make sure the ends get stuffed. And then I flip it over and roll, bring it up, stuff the ends again. You can put mushrooms inside of here too, sauteed mushrooms, even steamed mushrooms. You want to make sure your mushrooms have at least been in the heat because Amy, because it has some kind of what?
Oh yeah. So mushrooms, if they're not cooked, just even lightly cooked, they could have something called a garatine in them, which could be a little bit toxic. So you don't have to cook them all the way down, but if you just lightly cook them, it cooks off that garatine. And I think they taste better to me. I think mushrooms taste better when they're cooked than when they're raw anyway. But I would like to ask the Green Warriors, what's your favorite veggie to add to a sushi roll? Tell us in the comments. What do you like? Because Rick has been showing you things that he likes to do.
Hey, this is my sushi. Now, I don't have any, so I figured I would make it for you in front of you. But what I do is I add some nutritional yeast. I add some hemp seed. I add a little bit of walnuts that are ground up. I add some table tasty, and I make.
Yeah, so Rick is going to show you what he likes to use.
It's like a Parmesan. That's what I label it, Parmesan. So when I do this, I take that Parmesan stuff and I sprinkle it on. See, I'm out now. I knew that. So this has sesame seed in it, has hemp seed in it. And then I take this roll and check this out. I just roll it in that mixture. Do you see that? Did you see me roll it, Amy?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay. So that's your first one. And I'll take that. I'll put it on a clean plate. So I'm going to make the mixture now for you so you see what I do. Okay?
That sounds good. Hey, Rick.
Yes, ma'am.
You know who just hopped on? If you look at the screen.
Angela. Angela?
Beverly.
Beverly. Hi, Bev.
She said, Beverly Liz is our neighbor and she's our potluck friend. And she's remembering when we had fruit sushis at
That's
our
right.
potluck. I do remember that. And we called it frushi.
Okay,
And
so I just put
yeah, that was a
nutritional
lot of
yeast in.
fun.
I put nutritional yeast in. I put some hemp seed in, about an even mixture, you know. And then I put the table tasty in. And I mean, if you like cumin, you could add cumin. I'm not really a big cumin guy.
Yeah,
But what I will
not
do,
everybody likes cumin.
I'm going to add some black sesame seed. I'm going to add some white sesame seed. And that's it. You mix that all together.
I hope you guys are getting inspired to make your own spice blends and seasoning blend. It's fun to have sesame seeds coated on the outside of sushi, but if you're going to do it like Rick's showing, why not go ahead and put some seasoning in with those sesame seeds so that this way you get that
Oh, yeah. Let's put some chili 9000 in there, Amy.
extra.
Hey.
Why not?
Little bit of kick in there. That's right.
You know, because we don't use salt, we really have evolved in our spices that we use. Because and I was talking about that with someone just the other day, which was another potluck friend of ours, Linda. And we said, remember when we used to just get salt and pepper and maybe like a little oregano or garlic powder? I mean, most of the seasoning flavor of things that we made was salt. And now that we don't use salt in our food when we cook, we've expanded our horizon of different things that we like to use.
And now this paper is still sticky.
Yeah.
So I take it and I roll it inside, and it covers the outside of it, which gives it
Why
a
don't you?
nice
Okay.
salty flavor. And it makes it look pretty.
Yeah. So now you've got the seasoning on the inside and on the outside. So even if you didn't have a dipping sauce, this is going to have a lot of flavor. And a lot of these dipping sauces that you can get in the store have a lot of sodium and other kinds of MSG, all kinds of weird ingredients in them that are not too healthy to use. So just experiment in the kitchen with the kinds of flavors that you like. But Rick likes to use this, like he said, he likes to use this as he keeps it in the refrigerator and he uses it to sprinkle on top of other kinds of foods that he makes.
Yes.
So you want to show us maybe up close what it looks like after you've coated it with those that
Yes.
that blend that you have. This way we can see.
Okay. So, can you see that?
And it's all sticking on there.
Yeah, it sticks on because the rice paper has like a goo to it.
Yeah.
So now I'll put it in the refrigerator for about 5 minutes, you know, or 10 minutes, half hour, an hour, however long you want. It doesn't matter. A lot of times I'll make this half a day ahead of time, maybe a day ahead of time, put it in the refrigerator, but I'll cover it up. If I do it like that, a lot of times the moisture gets to it and it's even more gooey, but I put it inside the air fryer, you know, and the air fryer takes all the gooiness out and makes it nice and warm and soft, and you pop them in your mouth. Beverly can attest to it because
Yes.
we love them, you know. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I cut them, because even though they're not truly ready to be cut, because it's much nicer when they're
Firmed up in the refrigerator.
firmed up in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
So I take a serrated knife, which I thought I took out, but I didn't.
Yeah. So this is another tip. And Rick had. Oh, Beverly is testifying. Yes, they are delicious.
So I take a
Okay.
serrated knife, which is a bread knife. Okay. You can use a really sharp knife, but I find that I don't have to wet these down too much. You're supposed to wet them, and it's supposed to make it cut through easier. So then you can go from the center out or from the end. I'll turn around and I'll slice on the end, you know, because this one is usually no good, and then I
Well,
make
it's
about
good. It's
three
just
quarters,
not.
three quarters of an inch or so a piece.
That's another thing that people struggle with when they go to cut it. It sticks to the knife, and then or it flattens out.
Right. So
So you have a good eye for making things even. If somebody was like me, and they were measuring challenged, you would advise cutting it in the middle first, right?
probably.
So that you could make it even cuts. You can just cut it in half and cut it in half.
Well, the hard thing is if you're measuring to the end, a lot of times the ends fall apart like this, and that's what you get to eat. You
That
turn around and you say, "Okay." Well,
you have to make the
it has a nice flavor too.
the ultimate challenge for your guests, because you don't want them to have those ends that aren't so perfect.
Right. Anyway, so if your knife is sticky, again, clean it off, wipe it down, because that one got sticky on me for some reason.
And I love this hack of using the serrated knife. And we don't really eat a lot of bread, so we really hadn't used the serrated knife, because that's more of something that you would use to cut bread. But you have found a few reasons to use it, and one of them is sushi.
This knife is older than my children, and my oldest one is 35. Well, this thing's over 35 years old. I guess. Anyway, so maybe you can see the sushi. You see that? It's got the cucumber inside of it.
Maybe you should use a different plate for the
Okay.
presentation.
Let me clean this plate off.
Some people will say that doesn't.
The reason I use that plate,
Yeah,
is because it's got the salt flavorings on the bottom,
yeah.
and because I'm laying it on top, that'll get more flavor to it. But anyway, here, I'll do this.
So Carrie said, measuring challenged, LOL. Yes, I am measuring challenged. And I don't cut on a straight line. I color outside the lines, not intentionally.
I
Is
do.
anybody else like that, or is it just me?
I do it intentionally. There you go. Never be
Wow.
Can you see that? Well, it looks all smoky.
Yeah,
Does
it looks great. It looks great. And it
Okay.
tastes good.
Oh, they're
And-
delicious.
Right. And if you wanted some color pop in there, right, you could maybe take some julienne carrots and roll them inside.
Oh, absolutely.
And
You
then,
could add more carrots to it.
yeah.
Shredded carrots. You could add tofu. If you like tofu, you put you cut the tofu strips like we did the cucumbers. Then you just lay the tofu inside there. And you can flavor the tofu with, marinate it. You can air fry it and stick it inside there, and it'll be a little firmer, possibly. There's all
And
sorts of stuff you can
yeah,
do.
I think that because we've been eating this way for a decade, we don't eat with our eyes as much as we eat with our taste buds.
Yeah, that's us.
Yeah,
Right.
that's us. So
Most
we
people-
don't worry that it's got to have this great presentation, because it could look beautiful, and then you go to taste it and you're like, well, that's all right.
Regrettably,
Or-
a lot of the stuff that we make, it's all brown and it doesn't look very pretty, but it tastes delicious.
Right. We like to use certain ingredients that tend to turn the food brown, and we're not trying to do that, but those are the ingredients that we tend to use. So, but
Okay, so the thing that we first started, it just came up to pressure,
oh,
and in 8 minutes, it'll be ready. But then I do a natural pressure release.
right.
So you just put it in and you forget about it, and then you come home 8 o'clock, 8 hours later, whatever. It's all ready because it's on warm, and then you just the bottom doesn't burn for some reason, usually anyway. And so now it's got 7 minutes. There we go.
Yeah. So I love the Instant Pot. Any of you Green Warriors use the Instant Pot? I just love using it because it's it's just coming home and or just doing things around the house, and then you come back to it, and there it is. It's all ready for you to have wonderful food. And what Rick prepared, if you didn't get to see that in the beginning of the broadcast, you can go back later on and watch it. But he did make some tomato lentil kind of stew in a way, because
It's a dal.
it's a dal. Yeah, I guess
It's a
it's a
dal.
dal. Yeah.
It's a very thick dal.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it is.
Yeah, and we like it that way. And if you didn't, you could always add more liquid to it and make it more of a soup. But it's a great dip too. So
So,
there's just so many ways to enjoy it.
so make sure your knife is damp. If you want to cut from the center, cut from the center. Pick out the length of it that you want. I make it about 3/4 of an inch, but you can make it a 1/2 inch. It's a little more challenging making it a 1/2 inch thick with the knife, because if you push too hard, it just oozes out the end. You know. So one side you get 4. Next side you get. Here we go. But let the knife do the cutting. Just keep a light pressure on it, and bam, it just goes from there. Look at that. So, see? Okay, Amy, I'm going to eat this.
Okay, you can do it. So,
The
Grigori, do you
outside has such
prefer?
a beautiful flavor when you first start.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. Watch this. We have this salad dressing. I can show you how to make it. You guys want to see how to make the salad dressing?
sure. We'd love to see that. So, Grigori, do you prefer sushi with brown rice or white rice? And I remember when we used to make in the beginning, when we used to make it with white rice.
Here, watch this dressing.
And
I'm going to show you. So you take that, pour a little bit over the top. Wow, that's really good.
yeah, so this dressing that Rick showed you, he has it in a little bottle. We had a potluck friend that
We make 4 bottles at a time.
yeah. We had a potluck friend that actually gave us these empty bottles because she liked to drink kombucha from the store, and she hated to throw away the bottles because they were so nice. So she gave us a whole bunch of them, and we said, perfect for
Yeah, they're all
our
purified and everything.
to put our dressing in. And when I asked the Green Warriors which kind of rice they prefer with their sushi, Roxy said that she preferred white rice. Yeah, a lot of people do like that. And I remember when we were first doing the sushi, we would cook the rice in a rice cooker, and then we would add, we would take dates and kind of let them soak in some water, and then we would pour off that water, and that would make the rice sweet, right? So that was kind of a fun thing to do. But now, of course, everybody thinks that sushi can't be sushi unless you have fish in it, right? And Carrie said, yeah, definitely white. But sushi, it doesn't mean fish. It means seasoned rice. So that's why they call it sushi. So obviously we can have sushi and not have to have any animals or fish in there, or fish sauce in there, right? Because you have to be careful if you go out to eat sometimes. If you have it in a restaurant, they might have fish sauce in that sushi. And like Beverly said, we made frushi. And that was when we took the rice paper and then we took different fruits and we cut them up and rolled them up in the rice paper.
Yes.
And that is so pretty. You can put strawberries and kiwi in there, and you can see, because the rice paper is translucent, and you can see in between, and you can see all the different colors pop out, and you can put little blueberries in there. And that's another thing that you could do. You make that the desserts. You can make the sushi the part of the meal, and then make frushi for dessert. Have any of you Green Warriors tried that, where you used rice paper and put the fruit inside? Okay, so Rick is going to make you're making dressing?
Yeah, I'm just gonna make a small amount. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
make what we normally I make a Vitamix full. It's about
yeah,
up to here, but I'm
yeah,
not going to because I already have 3 bottles in there.
yeah. You just
So
made some recently.
walnuts. So it's pretty much an even mixture. So you use it. In my case, this is a quarter cup. Right? It doesn't have to be perfect. So normally I throw a cup of walnuts in, but we're going to use a quarter cup of walnuts, right? It, the original one doesn't call out for hemp seed, but I sprinkle a little hemp seed inside there too because hemp seed is supposed to have the omega 3s. The walnuts have the omega 3s. What I didn't get is the raisins, which are inside of here, I think. Oh,
Yeah, and this is the dressing that we use on our salads. He uses it for the dipping sauce for the sushi, and a lot of times he adds it to different recipes that we enjoy. One time, Rick, you made the mushrooms and sautéed mushrooms, and you
now,
added this sauce.
normally I add about 6 cloves of garlic, but because I'm only doing half of it, I'm going to use one and a small one
Mhm.
regular size and one small one. And you
And
can
if
always
you
add to it,
yeah,
but
and
you
if you
can't take
notice
it away. It all depends on how much garlic you like.
yeah,
So, so you got walnuts, hemp seed, garlic, and then about a tablespoon of mustard, because normally I use about 3 tablespoons of mustard. And then you do equal parts. No, you do a quarter cup of balsamic. We do an organic balsamic. And I have to go get raisins. But you would add a quarter cup of
can you
raisins.
move the Vitamix closer to the camera? Because we weren't really seeing everything. There you
Well, you
go.
didn't
Uh-huh.
tell me. You didn't tell me.
I just
Okay,
did.
so I have to go get raisins real quick. You can use dates as well. So why don't I just use dates on this one because I have dates here.
Yeah, that'll be just something different.
Right. So instead of using a whole date, which I probably have, I would have to de-pit it and everything. I have this date paste, and I already figured out about how much a date is. So I'm going to show you. When you take this date paste, you cut off about a half inch, and then you cut it in about an inch. So right there, that's a date. Plop. Okay. So that's date. So now I have everything I need but water. So now you use double the amount of, if you put a cup in, you use 2 cups of water. If you use a quarter cup, now you put a half cup of water. Okay? I have to go get water.
So, Green Warrior, what do you have any tips for those of you that have been successful with making sushi? Do you have any tips? Tell us in the comment what's your best tip for making the sushi not fall apart.
Okay, now this dressing is delicious. It really is. Okay, are you ready, hon?
Yes, I'm
So
ready.
a half cup. eh, And that's it. So what do? We put in a quarter cup of walnuts. We put in a tablespoon of mustard. We put in like a tablespoon of hemp seed. Put in a quarter cup of balsamic vinegar and 2 cups of water. And then you put it in your Vitamix.
Yeah. So what I did is I'm muting Rick's microphone so that while he's spinning it in the Vitamix that you don't hear the noise from the Vitamix. But I'll show you how he's doing it. And I asked the Green Warriors what's their best sushi making tip, and Kerry said, "I only have eating tips." Oh, I don't know if Rick heard that, so we'll have to tell him after he finishes blending up that dressing that he has. And that so you can see that whenever you use raisins or dates, oftentimes it could turn things brown. but we're more about the flavor profile than the visual. Rick, I asked the Green Warriors what their best sushi making tip is,
Yes.
and Carrie said, "I only have eating tips."
That's good. I like eating too, but I enjoy cooking a lot.
Yes. And I'm glad that you do, because then we get to see all the different things that you come up with in the kitchen.
Okay, so now you have a dipping sauce if you want to use a dipping sauce for your sushi.
Okay, so you want to move everything over so we can see. I think that plate, the other plate is blocking it. Yeah, it's blocking it.
This
Okay.
plate?
Yeah.
This one?
Yep.
Okay, gone. How's that?
Okay, you have chopsticks?
Oh,
Yeah, got to make it authentic, right, guys?
all righty. Here we go.
Okay.
Little sushi, little dipping sauce. Okay, ready? I'm gonna eat it.
Yeah. Wow. Yum.
That's really tasty.
Yep. We actually a long time ago we watched somebody in Japan, right? Do you remember that? He was supposed to be the best sushi making guy in Japan in a restaurant.
Yeah, they had to train for like 10 years before
Yeah,
they
like
can
the
actually.
sous chef that worked in the kitchen, he couldn't even roll any sushi until he had been there for like 6 years. But
There's a certain way of cutting a tuna. And all
oh
that
yeah,
stuff.
there's a certain way of doing everything. But one of the things that the sushi making guy said
Mm.
was that he made the sushi rolls different size for women than he did for men. Because as you can see, Rick took that whole piece and put it in his mouth, and for me, I probably would struggle, and it would probably be messy for me.
That's
So
why I cut this one a ½ inch thick. I cut this one 3/4 of an inch thick. See, this one's
ah
thicker.
yeah
This one's thinner. It's for you. But I'm gonna eat it. Oh wow.
yeah. So Rick Beverly said that when you had a substitute for the raisins, she just thought maybe dried cranberries
Mm.
would be good because she's been buying the ones sweetened with apple juice. That would really give another
Well,
flavor profile dimension, wouldn't it?
yeah, what we've been doing as well is when I make the dressings, I throw in a chunk of ginger and I throw in a chunk of turmeric. And then you get the anti-inflammatory properties from the ginger and the turmeric, plus you get that gingery flavor.
Yeah.
And with this, it would be really good.
Yeah.
In the past, I've added ginger powder into the sushi mix,
Mm-hmm.
so you had that gingery flavor when you ate the sushi by itself.
Yeah, because a lot of times when people have sushi in the restaurants, they have this pink stuff, and they call it ginger.
Right. It is. It's ginger,
It is ginger, but it's
but
got
it's been
artificial colors and all kinds of chemicals in it, and so it's not straight ginger.
anyway. Thanks for dinner.
Wow, starting without me, that's not fair.
Hmm. Okay, the lentil stuff
Instant
is
pot?
done.
Yeah, that might be ready.
I'm going to do a natural pressure release on it, or should I just do it?
Well, I don't know. Whatever you want to do. Green Warriors, do you have a question for Rick about anything that he's made today, or about things that he likes to make, or anything about anything kitcheny cooking?
Oh, you want to see my newest gadget?
Oh,
That
wow.
potato thing that you got me in.
We just love gadgets, and over the years we have been accumulating so many different kinds of gadgets because it's fun. And I think that Rick had showed you in a previous video that he actually made potato chips. and he made them without oil or salt or sugar or anything. And then we found this wonderful slicer, and it made the work a little bit quicker as far as let me where you want to show it in I'll put in that screen there.
Okay. I gotta find a potato.
Yeah, you need to find a potato. So
You hit them
we
on.
found this awesome potato slicer, and so with the because he had said in the cooking demo that he did last time, he had said that you would have to be careful because you should probably use um, a glove with that mandolin, because you could really slice your fingers off, especially if you got too close. And sometimes they have the mandolins come with a guard and you use the guard, but then you get that extra piece that isn't catching with the guard, and sometimes people are tempted to use their hands. But anyway, it takes a little bit longer to do it that way. So
I
this is
use
a
Russell potatoes
yeah. So
to
he's
make
got the
potato
russet
chips.
potatoes there, and that's what we like to use with the French fries, and
Right.
also with the potato chips. So he's gonna wash that one off. And these we buy organic potatoes. It's not necessary, but that's our preference.
Right.
So this is so cool. You
So
have the
check this
tray
out.
under there?
This is cool. You take
Yeah.
this little tray. It sits in there right underneath it. Where are you? Goes this way. Well, it may not be open all the way. There you go. And you drop your potato right inside the chute. Put this in, and then you pull down on this lever. Oh, wait a second. It's not locked. I don't know why. Okay, let's go with this potato. Now it'll work. So you just put light pressure on it. Look at this. Look how thin these are.
Wow.
And they're all the same size, all the same thickness. It's, instead of doing a mandolin, cutting your fingertips off, it's like, wow. So let me finish these off. Then we will pop them in the microwave, and Amy will have potato chips in a little bit.
Yep. It's so much fun, and it just
See that? And I keep a circular piece of parchment paper. Since you're on camera here, I'll just show you. This is really cool. So I take this piece of parchment paper and I put it there. I'm going to take the microwave dish out. You see the microwave dish? This is glass. She puts a little silicone mat on top of it so that things aren't as messy. Then you take these potatoes and you can see that, right, Ames?
yes.
And then you just go right around the edge of it. You don't want them overlapping, but you want them up against each other as much as you can. Now, if you want to sprinkle something on them, you can. And I used to in the very beginning when I first started, but we love the flavor of the potato chips so much, just the way that it is, that we don't bother anymore. But since we do have that mixture out and ready, I will spice them up just a tad. You see? Look at that. So you stuff it all pretty good. And where is that? Oh, yeah. Remember that Parmesan cheese I made? So watch this. Sprinkle a little of that stuff on there. So that gives it that salty flavor. Then I'll put it back in the microwave. I'm going to show
That's
you.
gonna be
Take the,
so
take
good.
the camera, Amy.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm just gonna put it here while you change the camera over.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that slicer has been a game
Okay, I'm
changer
ready. You see?
for us. Now we're gonna show the microwave now. So there it is in the microwave.
Okay.
We used to actually put this on a plastic thing to make them, and now Rick discovered that the parchment paper is the way to go.
Oops. It's not on correctly.
Don't you hate that, guys, when that little plate just wants to come off of the thing in the microwave
There it is.
and it makes all that funny
Sorry.
noise?
Okay, so I put it on 6.5 minutes. Because that's what I've learned. The microwave takes about 6.5 minutes, and then you give it take another minute or two, so that they get crispy.
Right.
Anyways,
So it would depend on your microwave as far as what you have, the wattage of your microwave, because some microwaves have a higher wattage and they're going to cook it faster. So in the beginning, you really need to kind of do it a couple minutes at a time, and then that toward the end of the cooking, you might have to do just 30 seconds at a time, because I've had the learning curve experience with those chips. And I have definitely I've made them a little bit too brown
I'll
in the
tell you, just
beginning.
a couple of seconds, just 5 seconds difference is the difference between burning and crispy. Yeah, and sometimes it's better not to go to the crispy and just take them out and put them in the dehydrator for 20 minutes. But this is immediate gratification that we want, so sometimes they're not as crunchy as you want, but they're almost there. That's why I put them in the dehydrator just for a little bit. I do the same thing with the tortilla chips. You guys have seen us make the tortilla chips.
Yeah, you've made those too. And if you don't have a dehydrator, I mean, you might have one and not realize that you do. So we have a huge dehydrator that we use for other things. But if anybody has a Breville oven, a lot of them have a dehydrating function
Yeah,
that you
you
can
can
use.
put it in an air fryer as well, but
I don't know.
you really want to pay attention to the air fryer because they'll burn real quick.
Yeah, or they could go flying up in the air. I don't know if you could air fry them.
I don't know. I have inside of the Breville. I put it on air fry and then I
Yeah,
burn.
I'm talking about those. Talking about the ones with the draw. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. We haven't used that one in a long time because we eat
as
so
we got
much food at the time that the Breville has been the way to go, because otherwise you can't cook as many
okay.
trays of
So
food.
let's do this thing. Oh, are you ready? We're going to do a natural. Oh, let me get my dragon.
Okay, so now, if you didn't catch us in the beginning, Rick had made this yummy lentil stew, which can also be a dip, which I guess that's why he decided to make the chips, so we could have a dip. But
Okay,
he's
so
on.
these things are really really hot. So I have like this cut-proof glove, but I wanted to put my my dragon on here.
Both cameras are in about the same position, just to let you
Oh,
know.
let me move this down. How's
Uh,
that?
that's better.
All right, here we go. Here's my dragon. Amy got this for me for something.
So usually you do a natural pressure release, but this time you're going to let it do an
See
instant
that?
pressure release, and then the dragon's gonna let out his steam. I love that thing. Makes you laugh. You gotta
Yeah,
have fun.
it brings joy.
That's right.
I like joy.
Gotta have fun in the kitchen.
Yes, ma'am. Fun in the kitchen. Anyway, so it was almost over anyway because there's not a whole lot of pressure inside of here.
Yes, I think Rick's gonna. How are the chips doing?
Oh, it's still got 2 minutes left on the six.
Okay. Yeah.
So You want to make, every time you do it, you want to make sure that some are moister than others. The more moisture, the longer it takes. The thicker they are, the longer it takes. The thinner they are, the quicker they go or cook. Anyway, so now you'll see the end of what the lentils kind of look like. And then you'll get to see my new fancy spoons again.
Yeah, I don't know if any of you saw that, but
I
Rick's,
showed you these, right?
yeah,
Wood on those things.
they're so cute, and
It's special wood, and it's all different colored. It's like a rainbow. It's
yeah, I think
amazing.
they come in two colors.
Do they?
I think so.
Well, this is a nice color.
Yes, it is.
I got a spatula. It's got several spoons, drain spoon, and a spaghetti spoon. Look at that. It looks like the sun.
Yeah, and when we have because we like to have the spiralized zucchini. So
I told Amy, I said, these things look so artistic. You can just mount them on a board, and you can have them hanging in your kitchen, and it'll look like a piece of art. Okay, let's see what happens.
ooh, it's ready. Oh, look at all the bubbles. Yum. Wow.
So
That's going to be so good. You got to plate that up. And you see, it's thick. It's more like more like a stew.
and then this is when it's warm. When it's cold, it's even thicker.
Yeah.
But this is what you'll eat it like. It's like I said, a dal.
And we love to use our super cubes to put them in sometimes.
Take this one off, Ames. I'm going to bring it over and show you the chips.
Yeah. So I don't know if any of you ever tried the super cubes, because they are wonderful when you're batch cooking. They're so awesome.
Okay, you turn it back on.
Okay. Let's see. All right, there you go.
So this is 6.5 minutes. So you can see that they're already starting to turn a little brown, but yet they're still flexible. So what I do is you don't have to, but I flip them over because moisture gets inside there. So like I said, you don't need to, but I do because I see they come out a little bit nicer if you do this. And if you wanted to, you can sprinkle that stuff on the other side all over again. But like I said, when you get used to eating like this, just the flavor of the potato chip alone, without any seasoning on it, is more than adequate. They're so addictive. I mean, this is for 2 potatoes, and Amy will eat this like, I mean,
I could do it. I could eat the whole thing all at once.
It's like eating a bag of potato chips.
Yeah, but I don't have any oil or salt.
So I'll put this in for another 1.5 minutes. But as it gets towards the last 30 seconds, I'll keep a closer eye on them because some of the ones that are on the end, they're browning, and you want to make sure that they don't burn on you. You know, some people don't like standing in front of a microwave, and I can understand that.
Yep. So this is the critical moment where it could burn.
Well, you got 1 minute and 30 seconds.
They have something called the learning curve, and I have the burning curve. So, because I remember actually we were going to have a potluck, and you wanted me to make chips, and you were not at home, and so I made them.
Yes.
And my first batch got a little too brown, but then I learned after I burned.
Yes, you. That's how most people learn.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And that's how most people get into this lifestyle. They become sick, and then they find this lifestyle, and it makes them better. Okay, you see how brown they're getting, some of them? And it's 20 seconds left. So at this point, I'm going to stop it because these right here are ready, you know? So once they cool down, they'll be crispy. The ones in the center are not so much right at this point. Anyway, let's go again.
I don't know if any of you can hear Zeus in the background. He's having a good time.
So if I would have left those other ones in, they'd be turning really brown right now. See how these already started getting to that point? I'll take them out and we'll finish off the rest of them.
And I like the parchment paper because then you can just pick it all up at once.
Yes. And you reuse it. This parchment paper has probably been used 20, 30 times now. Okay, 5 seconds. See how quickly they see the center one? 5, 1. See that? 3 seconds. How much this one browned up? Look at that. It's just about burnt. Amy won't eat that one.
No, I won't eat that one.
Oh, this one was flipped over. I couldn't see it. So that one's already as well. But
Yeah,
that's how quickly they go from good to, oh, no. And by the time you smell them, it's too late.
But you could just pick up that
Anyway,
whole
so there
parchment
you go.
paper, right? If you
Right
wanted to.
Yeah, I'll pick it up for you. You go just like that, which is what we've done in the past. Then I pour it in the bowl and you have chips. So here you go.
Yeah.
Chips.
And we actually have
Chips
two.
and sushi.
We have 2 pieces of parchment paper like that, so that while one is in the microwave going, we could load up another one and then have kind of like a little
This is the second one.
assembly.
We have two microwaves. We've got 2 going at the same time. But here, listen.
Wow.
Mmm.
Gotcha. Yep. I hope there'll be some left over for me.
Oh, I won't eat them. These are for you, baby.
Aw.
Well, I'm not sure. Once you start, I'll stop.
Well,
Well,
how's that yummy lentil stew doing there?
All right, you ready?
Mm. And that's what I love about this lifestyle, because that, for some people, that would be a serving bowl, right? But for us, that's one serving.
So,
Because we get to enjoy that. And I'll give you a moment so that you can, oh, you're going to show us how you, yeah.
how I what? It's
Oh.
really hot.
Okay.
I'm not gonna put it in my mouth right now.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to give you a moment that you could clear the area so you could show us everything that you made.
Okay.
And I wonder, Green Warriors, if any of you are going to try to make any of these wonderful dishes that Rick showed us today, the yummy lentil stew or the potato chips or that the sushi, because wow. And it's okay. You can combine all of these things, you can have sushi and tomato and the lentil stew and some potato chips, right? That's not something that maybe all be on the menu for somebody altogether, but that's the fun
It
of
is
it.
for us.
We get to enjoy all these wonderful things.
Okay. Is that good?
Yeah, you can just,
Hang on. What?
yeah, I don't,
Bring it up closer.
yeah, pick it up closer over the other side. There you go. So there's the yummy lentil stew and the potato chips and the sushi
And the dipping sauce.
and the dipping sauce. That's
Or
right.
salad dressing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it's going to be so good. And if you wanted to garnish it, right, you could take maybe some green scallions and top off the stew with that to add
You want me to get some scallions
a
from the
little
yard?
color or whatever. And that would, give you a pop of color. But like we said, we just like to eat the food and we don't worry too much about the presentation, because oftentimes presentation means artificial colors and chemicals or compromising flavor. So is that hot? Ooh, it looks
Very
hot.
It's really hot.
Well, I might have to come in there and check out what you're doing there.
Okay.
Ooh, that's gonna be so good. Terry said that looks amazing, and it tastes even better. It tastes better
Right.
than it looks.
Right now, the lentils are still a little al dente because I didn't
Uh-huh.
do the natural pressure release.
Uh-huh.
Or you
Yeah.
could put it in for 9 minutes, but they're good the way they are. And
Right.
we're gonna wind up microwaving it again and again and
Right.
again.
But when we have leftovers, we'll be heating them up anyway, and then they'll cook a little further, and it'll be really good.
In fact, I could put the lid back on this, put it in for another minute.
Yeah.
That's what I'll do.
Yeah, and then this way it will cook a little bit more. But that's okay. When you with this type of cooking, you can taste things and not worry about any kind of
But it has a really nice flavor to it.
yeah.
It does.
Well, Green Warrior, please click like or heart to show your appreciation for what Rick shared with us today. And I wanted to let you all know that Rick actually has a recipe ebook that he created that has a lot of wonderful recipes in it that you can go ahead and look for that on my website, or you can go on to begreenwithamy.com. That's where my website is, and you can find the recipe ebook there, and I can and you can order it there, or we can send you 5 free recipes too. That's another thing that you could do if you wanted to just try out our recipes in that way. And so again, I wanted to tell you that this is something that this is what we love to do. We love to eat this way. And Rick and I both have had, we used to not eat this way, and it showed, and we were headed toward really poor health.
Oh, I
And
wouldn't. I don't even think I'd be alive today.
yeah, and
I don't.
now, we're just, doing so much better, and we're not on any medications or anything. And it's been such a wonderful thing that we don't really think about changing the way we're eating, because why would we? It just doesn't make any sense at all to go off plan. And I think that's our secret, right? Is the food tastes so good and we feel so good that to be tempted to go off plan, why would we want to try to compromise our health?
For me, I was falling apart. I was in really bad shape.
Yeah.
This, this saved my life. It really did.
Yeah, and I also wanted to thank Just Has Voice. She was out of town, so she didn't know that we were going to have a cancellation, rescheduling kind of thing, and that Rick was going to hop on. So she didn't get to do any of the promos for us for this broadcast, but she will be doing the future ones. And I wanted to let you know this is the time when I usually ask her to tell us who's coming up next. So what I can do is I can tell you that Dr. Peter Rogers, I mean, if you or someone you care about struggle with type 2 diabetes, or have you ever wondered if it could be prevented or even reversed with food, please join us Wednesday, May 28th, 3 p.m. Eastern and noon Pacific on Be Green with Amy Live, because Dr. Rogers will be back. He is a guest that people love to watch him, and I always learn, and that's what I love about it. I love learning from Dr. Rogers. And most of all, I want to thank all of you Green Warriors, because without you, we wouldn't be here, right? And your engagement and your support really make these discussions meaningful and impactful. And I really hope that you're feeling inspired to take a closer look at your food choices and make some positive changes for your health and well-being, because every bite we take, even every bite of sushi that we take, is an opportunity to nourish our bodies. And like
You don't want to say hello to everybody? Come on.
Oh, we have, okay, he's getting Zeus. Okay, let's put him on solo. There we go. There's Zeus. He's happy. He's happy to see all of you guys.
Hello.
I know you guys are big fans of Zeus, so you like to see him. And for those of you that don't know, he's eating a snap pea. Zeus is plant-based, and he loves being plant-based, and he loves to him, snap peas are treats, and he will beg for them if if we don't give him. But he's a thriving plant-based. He's a chocolate Yorkie, in case any of you want to know. He's a chocolate Yorkie, and he's
Yeah,
been,
he just came from the vet, gave him 100%. He's all good.
yep. Right, the vet said he's in good shape, and he wouldn't change anything as far as what we're doing with him. He's a good weight. Some of his friends are not good weight, but anyway, I just really want you to go out there and nourish your bodies, and like me and like Rick, just become the healthiest versions of yourselves. And please stay tuned for more empowering content. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and my Facebook. Check out my social media. I'm on Instagram, and of course my website too. And just share our message with others who you think can benefit, because together as Green Warriors, we really can make a meaningful difference in the world. And
Yes.
as a special thank you to all of you, I'm offering you 5 free recipes. And these are recipes that Rick has created, and they're delicious. And if you just go to my website, begreenwithamy.com/join, I will send you them one at a time over maybe a few weeks. You'll get one every once in a while as a fun surprise that you can try things out. And I wanted to invite all of you to take your right hand and grab your left shoulder, and then take your left hand and grab your right shoulder and squeeze, because that's a hug from me to you, Green Warrior. That's a hug from me to you, Rick.
Let me come in there.
I will give you a real one in just a minute.
I'll
And
come in there. Bring your check.
if you want to join me and Rick, because we're going to be doing my tagline. Oh, Rick is going to come in here and give me a hug. That's so nice. And Zeus is coming too. And look, wait. He brought me chips.
Want crunch?
After we do this, how about that?
Ah.
Until I see all of you again. Remember, be strong.
Strong.
And Rick did 65 push-ups in a row today, just to let you know.
Yes.
Be well and
be
be green. Thank you all so much, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I hope you come back real soon. Please share this with everybody that you know that can benefit from it, because this is just something that we really want everybody to enjoy and have a healthy lifestyle.
Oh, and Amy does employee wellness.
Yeah, I do employee wellness, in case you
Have a company that wants to.
Yeah, I do them on via the Zoom or
You can do it in person.
Microsoft Teams, and I can also do it in person too. That's true. Take care. Thanks, Rick.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Looking for really tasty recipes that are SOS free? No sugar, oil, or salt. How can it taste good? Well, if you like flavor, then you'll love this Be Green with Amy recipe ebook. Get your copy today. Click on the link in the show notes. Be strong, be well, and be green.